Hi guys, and welcome back to ECAfrica Talks. My name is Tainita. Thank you for taking the time to come and listen to us chat about businesses in South Africa and across the continent. I hope that you guys have taken something out of our episodes. I've learned so much from each of the entrepreneurs and business people that we've had on this couch, and so I hope that these episodes will be something tangible that you can use. If you guys are enjoying it, if you feel so inclined, please like, share, subscribe, share it to a friend of a friend. You never know who needs to hear a motivational story, a story about grit in entrepreneurship. So please join our community. Leave us a comment. Let us know who you would like to see next, or any entrepreneurial questions you have for somebody on the couch, and we would love to interact with you. Today's guest is somebody who is changing the space of real estate with technology in a space that can be a little bit daunting, a little bit different, and post-COVID, pre-COVID has changed so much. And so I'm so excited to have Ezra on our couch today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. I mean, I'm so intrigued by your story about the iterations of your business, about why you guys chose tech. And so I hope that this conversation will be something that people can learn from.
Definitely, I'm hoping so.
So Ezra, something that we do on ECAfrica, which is a little bit different, but I truly believe it, is that nobody can sell you or advocate for you as well as you can. And so we like to ask our guests to introduce themselves to the people. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and your venture.
100%. So my name is Ezra Rasethe, and I'm the founder of Investfriend, which is a marketplace that connects property investors to opportunities that are profitable and income generating, and we connect them to financing options to purchase those properties. Also, we get them service providers, because one of the issues we realize is that a lot of people are doing property wrong when it comes to investing. Buying a home is easy. There's a lot of information out there on how to buy a home. Most of our parents owned homes, so it's easy to buy a home. But if you buy a property for investment purposes, that's where, the rubber hit the roads, because a lot of people don't know what constitutes a good investment. My journey on my side is somebody who's born an entrepreneur. I'm from Limpopo, and I come from a family that is very hardworking and entrepreneurial. Grew up working around businesses. At home, I started many ventures when I was young. My parents were one of those people where you have to earn money for fun. Right. Yeah, so they'll be like, okay, do you want money? Then wash the car so we don't take it to the car wash. We'll give you the money. Or do this and do that. And that's been nice, because now you're learning the relationship between hard work and reward, especially monetary reward, that you can now afford yourself a specific lifestyle. So when I came back on holidays, they'll also give you jobs like, okay, just find out what's wrong in the business. And if you propose a good solution when they like it, we'll give you something. So that's always been like the whole idea of figuring out, okay, what's the credit policy? How are you guys collecting money? How are you dealing with, inquiries that are coming in? Who's answering that? And then how are you tracking that? All of those things were like very good things. How is your accounting system working right now? Which one are you using? Etc. So it's been like fun to learn all of those aspects of the business. The most importantly, the structure of the business. I think that's what led me into property, because when my sister, somebody who invited me to like a seminar, I used to read like Robert Kiyosaki's Dead Poor Dad. Yes. Yes, and then he's like, Robert Kiyosaki's in town, come, let's go. I thought I'm going to see this guy, but it was a seminar of some guys who using the brand. But it was helpful, because I found the community there, I found mentorship, and I found a structure. I said, if you follow the structure, that's what you're going to get. You'll also get mentorship on the way, and there's good knowledge. So those three things are what I missed in my previous business. So I was like, took it with both hands. I had my sales savings. I put it in there, got the mentorship, started there, and then I bought my first property in university. I was excited because I was like a young landlord at university. I used to tell people like I have a tenant or whatever. It was fun for me. That's when we then realized like, look, there's no streamlined process of purchasing an investment property, getting the service providers, and also financing options of financing that property that one can be able to use. And that's how I sparked Investfriend.
Right. And I think you've shown us how dynamic your journey has been, right? You come from a family that fostered entrepreneurship. You started your own ventures, told back to go to school. And I mean, I think so many entrepreneurs are like, oh man, okay, fine.
Yes.
And then start another venture where you're like, actually, I'm pretty good at this.
Yes.
I know it. There's a market for it. And so I think it's always really inspiring to hear entrepreneurs who are entrepreneurs at their heart, right?
Yes.
This is not something that fell into your lap, but rather it's something that you feel called to, right? You see problems, you want to create solutions, you want to create dynamic businesses. And I think even just hearing you speak, the way you speak about your businesses is that they're living, breathing things.
Oh, yes.
That is just so special to hear, because I think entrepreneurship can be really idolized and made to be like this really like cool, and it is. I mean, it is so lovely creating your own thing and having that behind your name and working towards it, but the reality is it's not linear, and that there are so many ups and downs. There's so many avenues that you walk down that lead you to exactly where you need to be.
Correct.
And some of it is luck, some of it is intentionality, some of it is trial and error. And so I think that's what you've shown us, that it can be so dynamic depending on who you are, on what sparks your interest, on the community you're in, on the networks that you're in, on the people who are taking you into rooms. Because so many of the entrepreneurs who have sat on these couches have said, like, you don't know what you don't know.
No, you don't.
Until you're in that room and you're like, I actually can solve this. This problem that you're talking about.
Yes.
I have the solution.
Yes.
And I can do that. So I think that's so special. Something that I'm really interested about is the fact that you guys have chosen to do a tech platform in South Africa, in property. So talk me through why a tech platform and what your platform does.
So one of the things that I'm naturally good at is marketing and sales. And once I started helping, let's say, family and friends, I got like a lot of referrals of people who want to do the same thing. And then I was doing it like individually. And I then realized, like, for me to build a sustainable business around this, I need to like market it. So I started building my personal brand. So in property investing, the issue is also education to do. But then the people who I was teaching was like, you know what, we want to find people who can partner up with when it comes to property. And I'm like, okay, that's okay. I have a list of 10,000 people. Let me put your deals out there and see if you can find people who can do that. And some of those properties like went over the weekend, like got partnerships, funding. Some of them got even bought, by other investors. Like, no, I don't want to partner. I want to buy this thing. I can give you this much.
And this is pre-platform.
Yeah, this is pre-platform. This is like a newsletter. And my newsletter was what started the business. For the first 1.5 years, it was just newsletter and referrals and repeat lines. There was not even a website, by the way. I think we only did a website because a client checked us online. It's like, you guys don't have an online presence. I'm like, okay.
Who are you?
Yeah, I'm like, okay, guys, we need to get a website now. And then I started working on the website. After they actually went online, they couldn't find us. Because now it was like, okay, now you're being dodged. Because it was early adopters did not care about that. You solving my problems. I want you to solve my problems. And this is like a new approach. I like it. But once the adopters are changing, people are like, where's your online presence? Where's your Google review? I'm like, okay, now we need to get a website.
Your landline number.
Yes.
That's my favorite question. What is your landline number?
I know.
Guys, I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't have landline.
I know. And it's crazy. And I think one of the clients asked us if we're renting a virtual office space. So I was like, this is getting too much now. But it also shows that your type of client you are attracting at that moment is no longer an early adopter.
Right.
But as soon as you get in the masses and the people are starting to like notice the people who are buying like conventional things, then those ones are going to look for websites, landline, this. They want to make sure that they're checking all the T's and to make sure that they're buying in the solid business. The demand got too much, and then we ended up saying, you know what, let's just create a marketplace so people can log in, find all these opportunities at one place. And our platform, when you go to our platform, you're going to log in, you'll find the buying costs, all buying costs, transfer fees, etc. What are the renovation costs, etc. that is involved if the property requires renovation. So that's when we realized like people don't even know the cost of operating this business. And that's exactly what are the return as well that you're getting on your money. That's exactly what our platform show you. And then you can be able to connect with service providers. But in a nutshell, the biggest thing that we realize is that it's like a lack of transparency in the industry, especially when it comes to investment purposes, because in property investment is basically saying you're taking a property and you're renting it out to someone for income. That's all you're doing. It's a business. You're getting an income from a property. Then you need to know the expenses of the business. You need to understand, how you're going to be running it, who's going to be helping you on the team. You also need to know the cost of purchasing it. And people are not looking at it like that. And that's what our platform does. It just helps a lot of people to, take out the guesswork on, property investing, on what am I going to spend when I'm running it, on who's going to help me run this thing, because I have a job, I have a family, I have other things. I don't want to be driving around with my van, getting equipment, tools and things like that, because when I have to do maintenance, who's going to run this thing and who's competent to do this work? And that's what our platform does. And that's what our clients love about it.
Very interesting. And I think you guys have taken such a holistic approach to property, especially. So I've been speaking to some friends and we're lucky enough that, you know, you have a little bit of disposable income, or you're thinking about, okay, well, I'm in my late 20s, how do I invest into a
Correct.
place? And so speaking about property feels like such a giant, right? Because you're like, oh my gosh, there's so many places to go into. Do I have to own this thing?
Yes.
Do I have to go fix the geyser
Yes.
when it breaks? Or does somebody else do that for me?
Yes.
And I mean, my friends and I are really lucky in the sense that we're able to get access to information, and you're curious, and but even in that there is an uncertainty to it.
Correct.
Like you're talking about transfers, or what happens if there's arrears, and who's inheriting that debt. And those conversations aren't necessarily always at the forefront of property, and it seems like you guys are really democratizing that.
Correct.
Especially with tech, right? Tech allows anybody to log onto the platform and get the same information. It's not about a network. It's not about
It's not like a
the
closed
color of
boy
your
club.
skin or anything.
Yes.
Like, you're able to access that information, and I think what you guys are doing is so dynamic. So I wanted to ask, because obviously South Africa is in such a transition right now, and there's so much opportunity, there's so much investment, there's so much uncertainty. I mean, I always think it's really funny when I hear people speak about South Africa with such doom and gloom, and I'm like, guys, it's so cool to be from here. There's so
Yes.
much opportunity, there's so many dynamic humans. But especially in the property space, I'm just personally intrigued. I mean, you hear about places in Cape Town being bought up by European investors and outpricing it. What are some of the trends you guys are seeing in property? And when it comes to young Black South Africans buying property, what is something that they should look out for?
Trends is an interesting one. So one of the things that we realize is a lot of young South Africans, they cannot afford to purchase a property fully in a place that they want to stay. For example, most South Africans in Johannesburg want to stay in a safe environment. Let's say it's a secure complex. It has amenities around. They want to walk around where there's like so many things they can do. And most importantly, you want to just be safe. You know, you just don't want to be in a situation where it's very funny. But those areas are not within your price range most of the time. And then what happens is then the pattern that we're seeing is like a lot of people then utilize their, basically they live where they can rent, and then they stay they like rent out what they can, they can purchase. They purchase a property for rental purposes, get income from that. And then wherever they want to live, they rent out that place.
Oh, okay. So it's almost like your property is funding your current place that you're living in.
Correct.
Which is smart, I
Which
guess.
It is. And that's most of our clients. They're like, you know what? I'm renting out my place. I'm staying in this like nice neighborhood. I have everything that I want there, but I just want to use my affordability to purchase a property that can generate some income.
Yeah.
And that's like the cool thing. So that's something that we've been seeing around, not only in South Africa, but around the world, because it's getting very expensive to own property right now, or to purchase, get into the market, especially in places that have amenities. Any place that have a lot of amenities, then it's going to be more expensive. The other pattern we're seeing is that people who already bought and could afford to purchase a property in a good area, they're realizing how much is stifling them from purchasing properties for income purposes, because they utilize the entire affordability. So we're getting cases of people who are now selling properties. A lot of clients of ours who can come to us and say, guys, I want to see what's going on the platform, but I'm selling my property right now so I can move and rent. Right? I'm going to move and rent, sell my property. Once I'm done selling this thing, I'm buying a property for investment purposes, because this is just taking money away from me. And every month I'm paying a bond. I did not know the levies are going to be this high. And yeah, it's not saving me. It's like basically I just have my income. Chunk of it just goes to levy rates and me just staying in a nice neighborhood. Advice for people who are looking to get into property is, I think, educate yourself about what you're trying to do. Especially, you just need to be very specific if you're looking for capital growth or cash flow. Those are the two, like your objective has to be very clear. Just to explain capital growth is like when you buy a property in a very good neighborhood, but you're not expecting to get money this year. You're willing to wait for 5 to 10 years or 15 years, and then when you sell it, you're going to sell it at a high price. Any neighborhood that is emerging, that just new malls, I'll say like Waterfall is a good place, or you can even look at Cape Town. Siponia right now has like one of the biggest year-on-year capital growth right now that we've seen in a lot of other places in Cape Town. Cape Town is like way higher than Johannesburg in terms of their capital growth. Year-on-year growth, and that's a very good place to look for those opportunities. If you are doing that, you must be willing to subsidize it every month, because it's going to be taking money away from you, and you must be comfortable enough that you don't need the money right now. So if you need the money right now, that's not the way to go about it. You need to buy something that is going to be giving you passive income on a monthly basis. So that's a whole different thing. That means you then have to be looking for cash flow in properties, and you have to be specific. Most properties that are generating a lot of cash flow have multiple tenants. So that means you're going to be finding, like, let's say, student accommodation or multi-let properties or similar properties that have multiple tenants, or maybe buying a block of flats. Those are like properties that are going to give you income, and there's a sense of stability because you don't have one tenant who can move out and then now you're in trouble. You have multiple tenants who are giving you income. That's more money for you. But even if 2-3 of them move out, then you still have some income to cover your bond and some of the expenses as well. And those are the two things that they need to be very clear about. Then once you're clear on that, then you need to make sure that you understand basically how your structure and how you're going to be purchasing the property. The biggest thing is, are you going to purchase through a company or trust or your personal name? All of them have pros and cons. Some people who in a specific income bracket, they can get government subsidy to actually purchase, to cover their transfer fees, all of that stuff, which is nice. But the biggest thing is that you're going to have to buy under your personal name. So the government subsidy does not fund properties under business most right now at the current state. We're hoping that changes in the future, but that's almost the pros of using a personal name. But most of the time it's all aligned to your goal, depending on what your goal is and why you're buying it for, which is another thing that you need to understand. If you're buying it for flipping, that's okay. If you're buying it for, leaving it for your kids, then you have to get the right structure from the beginning, because it costs a lot of money to restructure a portfolio, eh? I'll give you an example. If you buy a property under your name right now and you want to transfer it to a trust or company, you have to pay transfer fees again. So you're paying twice. So you need to be very careful in those things. You say, okay, how am I structuring this thing from the beginning and why am I doing it for? Is it for my family? Is it for myself? Is it for my own retirement? Is it for just, I want to flip it in the next 6 months or 8 months? You have to be very specific about that.
I think those are such tidbits of information, and I think you were just so generous in sharing it, because I think sometimes people are like, okay, everybody tells you, don't use your whole salary, invest, diversify your investments, go into property, don't go into property. And so I like how you're making it very tangible. Okay. How much can you get from the bank, and know that, so you can also advocate for yourself, right? This is what I qualify for a bond. This is where I'm looking to go to. This is the type of property I want to go into. I know it seems like a giant, and it seems like everybody tells you to go into property, and you're like, but I don't even know what that means. And so I really like how you guys have created a space where people can ask the questions and also learn from what they're doing and from other entrepreneurs.
Correct.
Something I'm very interested about is, obviously you're in the tech landscape and you're in Joburg. What is that like? Firstly, just what is it like being in the tech landscape and building a venture that in such a fast changing space? There's so many new things. There's Property 24, there's all the other things. So how do you guys separate yourself from what's already on the market, but also how do you enter into a tech landscape that can feel very exclusionary?
I think the biggest thing is, for me, the reason why InvestRent is like a holistic approach towards helping our clients invest successfully in property for their objectives is basically because we're focusing on the client. We're following our customers. If they say they want this, and what is the challenges that they're having right now, and what are the challenges that they can have in the future, and then we try to work around that. And that's what our business does. So we realize that technology alone is not going to be enough, because it's quality education that is required, as you mentioned. And we also realize that they need a community as well, where they can be able to speak to other people, like you mentioned. We do know there are solutions out there solving the same problems differently in South Africa right now, but we're focusing on our clients, and that's the biggest thing that we do. And I think that's the obsession we just have as a business.
So can you briefly just speak us through some of the ups and downs, right? Because I'm sure pre-COVID, post-COVID, the current space that you're in, I love listening to founders who have either become co-founders or have parted way from their partnerships, or founders who have seen different iterations of their business.
Yes.
I think it's so important to talk about the realities of owning a business.
Of course.
And the realities of a tech platform. I mean, it's something I'm trying to learn hands-on right now as we build ECAfrica. I'm not a tech expert. And so I'm having to rely on a tech team. And so how do I advocate for myself in that? So it can be very brief, but just some of the journey of the platform to get it to where it is right now.
So one of the biggest issues of non-technical founders like me and you, we have is some people in Silicon Valley, if you watch some videos, they say, if you're a media person, build a media business. If you're a tech person, build a tech business. Okay. But that's not entirely true. It just means that you must focus on your strength. If you take it a level deeper, what that means is you have to be so good at what you do that when you get somebody who's good at technology, they just see like no other option to join you. Because a lot of us have an issue of waiting, like, or maybe you wanna. I think that the story in places like Silicon Valley or all the other places around the world where there's like big ecosystems for tech, is that people grew up together, they went to the same school, and then they like became co-founders, and it's a nice story. But in South Africa, it's not always like that. You know, it's like sometimes you don't have the network of technical people around you. You have to build that. And sometimes you don't have access to them because they also have opportunities and they're being headhunted everywhere. I was speaking to one of MD of a very good company, it's like a marketplace for cars. He's like, look, we just lost one of our best tech guys saying, I'm going to go start my own startup. So if you think you're struggling with talent for tech, I'm struggling with talent for tech as well. So I'm in the same pool looking for the same people you are looking for. So I need to recruit a very good tech person. He also needs to recruit a very good tech person. He has a budget. I don't. I have a vision and I have a vision. And that's like the competition that we are in right now. I would say founders who are non-technical mustn't wait for technology for them to start. I would say they must start, and then while you're starting, you can now speak to people to say, hey, I'm doing this thing already. Do you know anyone within your network who's maybe in having like this specific skill set who can be able to partner up with me on this journey? I think that's the best way to do that.
100%. And I think from listening to the entrepreneurs that we've had on this couch, it's also just helped my own confidence in it to be like, you're very good at the thing that you do.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that you can't go into tech. But find somebody who can walk alongside of you. And it doesn't have to be a co-founder, right?
Correct.
It can be a company that you're outsourcing or somebody that you've hired in.
Of course.
And I think the trend is like, and you spoke about it, the trend is that software developers around the world, they're a hot commodity, right? There's so few of them for the demand that is out there.
Correct.
And so sometimes it is finding somebody who you can work with and grow with as they grow, or maybe you want to go for somebody who can build quickly and you have an MVP and you have something to show. And so from listening to you, I'm also learning that that journey will look different and what you prioritize will look different. But the main thing is to have something to show your investors, to show your customers, because we actually had Cheeto on here and she was telling us, obviously she's building an AI language platform, but that people can't necessarily see what's in your mind. And so just even having a mock-up of it changes the whole space of it, and it opens so many more doors for you, because people can be like, oh, well, this is what you mean.
Correct,
this is
yes.
what it looks like. And it might not have to be the full platform yet. And I mean, we've had so many founders who have come on and said, we have iteration 1, iteration 2, iteration 3.
We do that too.
Iteration 1 was a Google form. And now we've got this whole little platform that's working and moving. And so I think it's really encouraging to also hear a non-technical founder like myself, because you get nervous, right? How am I going to advocate for myself? How am I going to know who's building and who's not building, or who's pulling my leg? And so I think it's just also really encouraging to speak to a network of people who are walking that same journey.
Just to add one thing though is, the only thing that I would say is, if you focus on the customer and they pay you money and you stay in business, that's what I tell people. Stay in business. If you're in the business, then you can get all the options of technical founders and all this stuff and everything. As long as you're in business and you stay in business, that's what is important. Stay in business, focus on the customers. If you're generating revenue, you have all the options. You can have dev house, you can get in-house, you can do whatever. As long as there's money, that's fine. You know, I think the only thing that I think that can get a lot of people stuck is that your idea of your vision, like let's say, your vision 3 of maybe where you see your platform is, or your ultimate vision, does not have to unfold a specific way. It can unfold using your strength, where you say, I built the first vision of my business where it's just revenue based and I'm making money, and I hired these people. And then now that I hired these people, then I managed to, take it to vision 1, vision 2, vision 3, vision 4, to the ultimate vision over a period of time. And I've seen that. I was going to talk with the Kula guy. The Kula is like yes. This guy was having a talk, was also explaining that his first vision of his business was not even tech. It was just like going around getting like connecting with retailers basically. And then at some point, it ended up becoming tech because they actually have a business. They had something that was valuable, and they actually put the technology on it. And then it got to the point where it is right now, and they're doing very, very well right now. So I think it's there's no blueprint, But I just think that if you're lucky enough to get a co-founder, good. If you're not lucky enough to get a co-founder in the beginning, sharp. But you'll work it out. But if you're lucky enough to have clients who are willing to pay and they love your services, go ahead. And while you're on the way, then you'll figure out the other. As long as you stay in the game. But if you're out of the game, it's going to be difficult to get people to work with.
So good. So good. So something that we like to ask on ECAfrica, because we're for entrepreneurs, by entrepreneurs, is you're obviously in a different industry than I am. And
Yes.
so I'm sure that there's people on your radar, be it in property, be it outside of property. I think that like so many people live so many different lives. And so we like to ask our entrepreneurs on our couch if there's anybody that's on your radar, if it's a podcast or a venture or a cool platform that you think deserves a shout out. I think that it's so important to learn more about people on the ground.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a good question there. That's a good one. The latest platform I'm seeing that was so incredible is called MyDo. So this platform is like an entrepreneurial It's like an entrepreneurial platform that can do anything for you. You can invoice. You have it's like a LinkedIn for entrepreneurs where you can promote your profiles, like your services there. You can be able to get a space for tenders. People use it for tenders as well, where they apply for tenders. You can, be able to, do a CRM productivity, connect your entire team on it. Like productivity, it has like productivity like features as well, where you can like track your time. All of this, everything that you need as an entrepreneur, as a SME, you can actually find it on this platform. And it was so amazing to see. I met the founder and I was just like shocked. I was like, this thing exists. It's like, yeah, it exists. They have around 100,000 users right now. It's amazing. I think it's one of the best platforms. The quality of the technology that they use to build that thing is so amazing. I think people who haven't like checked it out, they must definitely go check MyDo. It's like, MyDo, it's a cool platform. That's one of the platforms that excites me because it's like, what were you doing at InvestRand? And they already done it from entrepreneur's point of view, and they're connecting very nicely with like, incubators and accelerators, etc. Because now they can give you the back end of how to run your business. The biggest issue most entrepreneurs are facing is usually like the back end and putting it together. So that platform is very, very very nice. I'm very impressed with what they're doing there. That was a cool idea, actually.
I love that, and I think it speaks to what we do at ECAfrica. So we'll definitely give them a check because I think maybe they'll be our next guest.
Definitely. Actually, you must give him a ring. I'll give you his number. I bet. Yeah, they're doing like great work. They're doing great work.
That's very cool. We're definitely going to go look them up.
Yeah.
And then something we like to end our show off with, because I think it's encouraging. I think sometimes entrepreneurship can feel very taxing and your resilience is tested.
Yes.
But what is a piece of advice that was given to you or a piece of advice that you like to give to other entrepreneurs on the journey?
Yeah. So I think entrepreneurship is a game of knowledge most of the time, what you know. At what time, because your decision basically as a entrepreneur, you have like a limited time to gather information and make a decision. So the biggest advice that I got when I shut down my first fashion brand, my first official business, because I had all the other businesses before, I met my first mentor. And he was just he taught me about structure, mentorship, and then something called knowledge management. But in a nutshell, he simplified like this: like there's knowledge at head, knowledge at heart, and then there's knowledge at hand. So meaning that knowledge at hand is the knowledge you can get access to, but you don't know it. Like you just know who can give me the information about this so I can make a good decision. So you must always have like people who you can be able to call and they can give you like knowledge about something that you're trying to solve. At heart, of course, is your intuition to say, okay, what does your intuition say? At head is something that you like always educating yourself in personal development as well. And that's what you need for you as an entrepreneur to make decisions. Because it's all about, at the end of the day, this is a game of decisions on how many good decisions did you make, how many bad ones, and then like net result of it. It's succeeding to net result of that is basically what makes your business successful or fail. So you just need to get the knowledge at head, knowledge at heart, and also knowledge at hand, and always continue to build that. You need to build networks of people where you can call and say, yo, I'm dealing with this problem. How do you usually go about this situation? And they can be able to advise you, say, look, I don't know, but this is how I do it. And you still the ultimate person who makes a decision at the end of the day. And then the other one is knowledge at heart and knowledge at head. But while you're doing that, there's one key thing though, is just to understand that, sometimes advice is for free. You just have to choose whatever that it matters. And the other ones, you don't have to take it because you're the ultimate decision maker at the end of the day. You can use the other one later. Let's just put it like that. Because there's a lot of advice and opinion, and people are always looking for advice and wisdom. And wisdom can mislead people a lot of times. Just do the work, and then when you need the knowledge, then get the knowledge that you need to make a good decision for your business.
Sure, I think that's such good insight, and also it's such good advice. I think sometimes information is thrown at you.
Yes,
so
a lot.
It's discernment, right? It's
Yeah,
knowing what to use, when to use it, how to use it, to dig into your networks. And I'm going to adopt the head, heart, and hand because I think sometimes you don't even realize the plethora of stuff that you have around you.
Correct.
The things that you can make use of, the people that you can make use of, the minds that you can tap into. And so I think that's so special. Ezra, thank you for coming on our show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being so generous with your information. Where can people find you and where can they find your business?
Yeah, so I'm mostly like on LinkedIn, Ezra Rasethe on LinkedIn. And I'm also on, if you find me on LinkedIn, that's okay. But go find our business investment on YouTube. We have like a lot of quality content there that we release. Content people think you should be hidden, so go find it there about property investing, and go find investment.co.za. That's our website. Go check out our marketplace. There's a lot of opportunities there, and also get in touch with us, man. And we looking to work with a lot of people. We think we have a product and a business that's gonna help a lot of people in the world, especially when it comes to property investing.
I think so as well, and I think you guys are really changing the space and the face of property in South Africa.
100%.
That's so important. So thank you guys for watching this. Thank you for spending time with us and hearing a little bit about Ezra's story. I hope that it's one that has inspired you and one that has made you rethink how you're going to think about property and maybe even sparked an insight in you. If you guys did enjoy this episode, please share it and like it and comment. Please tell a friend to tell a friend, and you can find us on ECAfrica on all social media platforms. Ezra, thank you again for being here. We're so grateful that you've come and shared your story with us. I'm sure that it's going to be something that people listen to and reference.
No, it's a pleasure, and thank you very much for having me.
It was such a pleasure. Thank you guys. We'll see you next time.